And what is going on, everybody? Welcome back into the channel. Look, guys, it is June, which marks definitely the most dead month of the NFL calendar. We already got free agency in the NFL draft kind of wrapped up. OTAs are going on right now, but I feel like less every year these OTAs become kind of less and less important. And you kind of just start becoming more and more worried about, okay, hopefully no players really get injured. I know the Jaguars have experienced one injury to a player that wasn't expected to make any impact for the Jaguars. Actually, it was an undrafted rookie free agent wide receiver. Actually, tore his ACL at OTAs. So best of luck to him. But luckily, all the guys that are slated to be star players, nothing's happened yet, and I wouldn't expect anything to happen. Hopefully. So yeah, man. So right now, guys, in this video, I do want to kind of go over really some of the top players that I'm really intrigued about for this upcoming season for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Some players that are kind of top of mind, some players that might be poised for like big years, or just players that are poised to have like different roles for the Jaguars. So I got 4 players down here. So let's go through it real quick. Now, number 1 on my list has to be Jaguars rookie wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU. Of course, as you guys all know who have been following the channel, this was kind of my, I guess you could say, draft crush. He was the guy that I was wanting the Jaguars to draft that, number 17 overall the whole way through. And of course, the Jaguars actually traded back 6 spots and were still able to snag him. And look, we all last year wanted to see the Jaguars offense play, really high caliber football. Okay. And we all thought that, bringing Calvin Ridley in here was going to be the big difference maker. But unfortunately, he was not that player. It was a weird year for him because at the beginning of the year, the Jaguars were giving him targets, but he was dropping those opportunities. Middle of the year, they didn't really know what kind of role to use with him. And, it felt like Trevor Lawrence kind of lost trust in him. He got a little bit better at the end of the year, but, it was at that point where, the Jaguars, when it comes to roster management, really did not do a good job in the offensive line. And, Trevor Lawrence very quickly became one of the most pressured quarterbacks in the NFL, which obviously led to a lot of injuries for him. And it really wasn't very fun. We all remember that 1-5 collapse at the end of the year. So with that, Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be able to bring us, that size, speed, and athleticism, and really for the first time in a bulky regime, some actual youth. Okay, the first real wide receiver that he's invested a high draft pick into. And the big question is, like, can he be able to run all the routes? Now, this is a situation where, he was maybe dropped a little bit in a draft because, he can't, run all the different routes and stuff like that. But it was also a situation where, LSU really wasn't asking him to do a whole lot of stuff when it comes to, because they had the Malik Neighbors. And so they were like, okay, you're going to be the deep guy, run deep, and he's going to find you. But he's looked pretty good at OTAs. I know there was this one video of him, at OTAs where he was going against Seth Williams and completely kind of let them in the dust. Okay, you can kind of see the first round athleticism from him. So I'm really excited to see how Brian Thomas Jr. does in his first year. And, really when you replace Calvin Ridley with the Brian Thomas Jr. and you replace a Zay Jones with a Gabe Davis, I mean, it's going to be a completely different type of receiving core for the Jaguars, and I'm definitely here for it, and I'm very excited for it. So Brian Thomas Jr. is the guy that I'm really excited about. Now, number 2, I got to go with Mitch Morse. Now, he was a much-needed upgrade at the center position. The center position was so bad that, Luke Fortner was making other players around him look worse than what they probably were. And being able to bring in a Mitch Morse, a veteran guy, just, a guy that just looks like a center in the NFL as opposed to, Luke Fortner, where he just looks like more of a mathematician. Okay, so you got a big road grading guy. He looks like he's definitely built very, very tough. Just kind of has the interior offensive lineman look, okay? Just the rugged look that you want to see, from a center. And I just want to kind of see how much different does the offensive line look with just him inserted into the starting lineup. It's going to be really, really exciting to see. And, being able to grab a Mitch Morse and, you're getting a clear upgrade from a Luke Fortner. We just got to cross our fingers that this man stays healthy the whole entire season. Now, next up, number 3, I got to go with Devin Lloyd. Now, we all remember in the 2022 NFL draft, Trent Baalke traded up into the first round to grab Devin Lloyd. And I would say probably at this point, he's been a little bit disappointing. I mean, really just he's had some games where he's been really good, but he has games where he kind of disappears. Now, was that kind of a scheme issue? Now, I know one thing a lot of people are saying is that he's looking bigger at, OTAs right now, and they really feel like with a Ryan Nielsen scheme that they're going to be able to be a lot more creative with him and be able to really show all his strengths through this defense. The word is that they're going to try to use him a little bit more on pass rush, which is something that I don't think Mike Caldwell really ever did. I never saw this man, outside of maybe a blitz here or there, really line up on the, line of scrimmage and really try to get after the quarterback. And I think that we might need him because really, the Jaguars have Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker at their edge positions, but, behind that, you have a Travis Gibson who the Jaguars invested a 1-year, $1.2 million contract into. So it's like, can Devin Lloyd almost serve as a potential pass rusher in a third down situation? Maybe you bring in that extra safety to kind of fill in there. I don't know, man. I'm just excited to kind of see what Devin Lloyd has to bring in his third year and kind of what Ryan Nielsen's defense can kind of do for him. I really hope that it is a good marriage between the two. Now, last up, number 4, you can't go intriguing players without mentioning a Trevor Lawrence. Now, Trevor Lawrence, before the injury, I mean, he was absolutely on fire. I mean, 13-3 in his previous 16 regular season games. In that Bengals game, he was dealing. Okay, I think he was 23-29 before getting hurt in that game. And obviously that game is what made the Jaguar season completely go downhill. I mean, it happened the first drive with a Christian Kirk going down and then Trevor Lawrence hurting his ankle and basically being hobbled the rest of the season as every week he was suffering a new injury. And unfortunately, when it comes to that subpar play he had while he was injured, while he was playing with this terrible offensive line, and while having absolutely no help from a running game, he kind of I think public image kind of got diminished when it comes to the national casual NFL fan that's trying to rate quarterbacks and say, oh, Trevor Lawrence, he's the 20th best quarterback in the NFL. Like, a lot of people forget how much this guy was dealing before his injury, and a lot of people just forget how actually good Trevor Lawrence is and how much he really just elevated this team, because I've seen this Jaguars team. We've been fans of this team for so long, and I haven't seen a good, consistent winner until Trevor Lawrence got inserted into the starting lineup. So really with this, I hope that the upgrades around him do good. I hope that, offensive coordinator Press Taylor and head coach Doug Peterson really did a full audit and analysis of this offense in the offseason and really figured out what went wrong and what needs to get better. I know that I think that Trent Baalke actually had a really good offseason. A lot of the stuff that I wanted him to do, he actually went out there and did. So I give him a ton of credit for that. So I'm just excited to see what a Trevor Lawrence has to offer this upcoming year. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on him. Okay, and that might be a good thing. Keep sleeping on this guy. Keep allowing him to do his work from the shadows because, at the end of the day, talk in the NFL is cheap and games are won on the field and they're not won on paper. So I'm excited to see really what Trevor Lawrence has to offer in his 4th year as the Jacksonville Jaguars starting quarterback. So yeah, those are 4 of the players I was really, really highly intrigued about. Let me know what some of your guys' are. And also, guys, some personal news. I have passed all 4 CPA exams, okay? So, man, it's really exciting. I've submitted my application to become a licensed CPA in the state of Florida. So that's something I was working really, really hard at for about 14 months, waking up at 5 a.m., and studying and then going to work full time and then coming home and doing YouTube videos. It was something that, I really worked my butt off for, and I'm really, really excited to kind of have it. And really with that, my wife and I are actually working on starting up like a bookkeeping business. So if any of you guys have any kind of like small businesses or you guys need any kind of a bookkeeper or accountant, we are going to be pretty soon opening up that bookkeeping business and, being able to handle people's books, and I'll be able to, of course, file taxes for people. So definitely be on the lookout if that's something that you guys are interested in, because we'll of course have some low rates to really start that off. So really excited to upgrade my life in that aspect. And look, I know the videos are slow right now on this channel, but it's for good reason. I grind really, really hard on this channel from the start of training camp all the way really until the NFL draft. And then I basically have about 2 months to kind of just relax, take some take some breaths, and just, kind of rest up for the start of the new season. So, like I said, I ain't going anywhere. It's, I love making these videos, but, of course, got to have the work-life balance. And, I'm kind of using this time. I'll probably drop a video per week up until training camp starts. But, I have a lot of actually really fun stuff planned for this upcoming season. So I'm really excited about it. And I hope you guys are too. Let's hope that the Jaguars have an awesome year, and, we can do some big things. So with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please drop a like for me on your way out, and go Jags.